We've been operating in stealth mode for the past year, but we're about to unveil a product that will revolutionize the industry.
Welcome to The Explainer. You ever have a brilliant idea for a product and wonder, how does something like that actually become real? Something people use and love every single day? Well, today, we're cracking open the playbook that shows you exactly how it's done. But first, let's start with a kind of scary number. Get this, up to 90% of all new products fail. That's huge. For every one success story, there are 9 that just don't make it. So what's going on? What's the secret that separates that winning 10% from everyone else? Well, here's the surprising part. It's usually not about having a bad idea. A great idea is just the starting gun. The real difference, the thing that actually leads to a win, is the process. It's about having a system, a roadmap, to turn that initial spark into something solid. Okay, so where do we start with this system? Well, section 1 is all about starting with why. Before you do anything else, before you sketch a single screen or write one line of code, you have to answer the biggest question of all. What does success actually look like for us? And seriously, you cannot skip this step. Trying to build a product without a clear definition of success, it's like hopping in a car for a road trip with no destination in mind. You'll definitely be busy, you'll be driving all over the place, but you'll be completely lost. Success has to be spelled out in clear, measurable numbers right from the get-go. And this is how you do it. This is how that fuzzy idea of success becomes a real guide. Let's say we're building a banking app. Saying you want more engagement is, well, it's nice, but it's useless. But saying you want to increase daily logins by 20% in Q4, now that is a target you can actually aim for. Happy customers is just a wish, but maintaining a 4.5 out of 5-star feedback score, that's a real goal. These aren't just hopes, they're the numbers that will guide every decision you make from now on. All right, so you've got your destination locked in. Now, the big temptation is to try and build the entire perfect product all at once. But that, my friends, is a classic trap. The smart move is to plan just your first move. And that first move has a name, the minimum viable product, or MVP. Now, let's get one thing straight. An MVP is not a bad, buggy, or cheap version of your final product. Not at all. Think of it more like a science experiment. Its only job is to test your single biggest assumption about your customers, and to do it with the absolute least amount of work possible. It's all about learning. So how do you plan that MVP? It comes down to some really ruthless focus. You just ask 4 simple questions. 1, what's the absolute core problem we need to solve first? 2, what's the one feature that solves it in the simplest way? 3, how fast can we possibly get this out the door? And 4, and this is the most important one, does this feature directly help us hit those success metrics we defined earlier? If the answer is no, it doesn't get built, period. So once you actually start building, the process kicks into this incredibly powerful, repeating cycle. This is the engine that really drives modern product development, and it's called the build, measure, learn loop. It starts with build. You take your biggest idea, your riskiest assumption, and you turn it into the smallest possible thing a user can actually play with. The goal here isn't perfection, not even close. The goal is pure speed. Next up is measure. You put that little thing you built in front of real people, and you collect cold, hard data. And I mean data on what they do, not what they say they'll do. How many people clicked a button? How long did they stay on the page? This is where your theories smash into reality. And finally, you learn. You look at that data and ask the big question. Were we right? Did our idea work? If it did, fantastic. Time to double down. But if you were wrong, well, that's also a huge win, because you just saved yourself months of building the wrong thing. Now you know you need to pivot and test a new idea. And this is the magic of it all. It's a loop. It just keeps going. Build, measure, learn. And around you go. Every single thing you learn from the data feeds directly into what you decide to build next. This iterative cycle is how great products are born. They evolve and get smarter with every single lap. Okay, so that's the big picture strategy. But how does this translate into what the team, the engineers, the designers, actually does day to day? Let's zoom in a bit. It all starts with this simple but incredibly powerful little sentence. It's called a user story. And what it does is force you to frame every single piece of work from the customer's point of view. You have to answer, who are we building this for? What do they want to do? And most importantly, why they want to do it. Let's look at a real example for, say, an insurance app. The user story on the left, that's the why. As a policyholder, I want to view my payment history. Simple. But the acceptance criteria on the right, that's the what. That's the detailed checklist that tells the developers exactly what done looks like. When they can check off every one of those boxes, the story is complete and the user's goal is met. Now, of course, a real product is going to have dozens, maybe hundreds of these stories. You obviously can't build them all at once. So how do you organize it all? The answer is something called a product backlog. Think of it as the single master to-do list for the entire product, and it's always prioritized with the most important stuff right at the top. And a tool like Jira is built for exactly this. You can group your big ideas into what are called epics, then break those down into all those individual user stories we just talked about. But step 4 is where the magic really happens. Prioritizing the backlog, constantly ranking and re-ranking every story based on value. This list becomes the team's guide, their single source of truth for what to work on next and exactly why it matters. We've covered a ton of ground, so let's wrap this all up by talking about what really separates the teams that nail this from the ones that don't. It all comes down to a few key mindsets. You can really see the difference here. On one side, you have the pitfalls, and they are so easy to fall into. Building features just because you think they're cool, totally ignoring the data from your customers, and treating your initial plan like it's written in stone. But the best teams, they follow a different set of rules. They validate every single idea with data. They are obsessed with their success metrics, and they totally embrace the fact that the plan is going to change as they learn more. So look, if you only remember 3 things from this entire explainer, please let it be these. Number 1, success is defined by your metrics, not by how many features you ship. 2, the build, measure, learn cycle is your absolute best friend. It's the engine that will drive all your growth. And 3, use user stories to make sure every single thing you build is directly connected to real value for your customer. So I'll leave you with a final thought, a question to take back to your own team or your own idea. What is the one single biggest assumption you are making about your customer right now? You know, the one belief that, if it turns out to be wrong, could bring the whole thing crashing down. Find that assumption, and then go build an experiment to test it. And that's our look at the product development playbook. Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer.